Jairam, thank you very much for talking to me on Frankly Speaking. I think you are breaking your, you had censored times now.
Not censored, self-imposed moratorium on appearing with the Oracle.
Who's the Oracle? There's only one Oracle. It's
the
Rahul
nation
Gandhi.
wants to know.
Rahul Gandhi.
No, the nation wants to know.
Why do you impose that self-imposed moratorium on coming on my show so far?
Well, if you ask me that question, if you want an honest answer,
I only want you to be frank and honest.
No, I didn't quite relate to your jingoism, you know, your extreme xenophobism virtually, and your style, and you know, the nation wanting to know all the time. So, but you know, we remain good friends.
You were in power, and all people who are in power always view an independent media like that. But we'll. No.
It's got nothing to do with that. I mean, you can be as critical, you can be as critical of us as you can, but that's got nothing to do with it. It's just to feel the, you know, with my perception of what you were trying to get out of the program.
So, Jairam, either one of us has mellowed, you or me. Maybe I haven't mellowed. Maybe you have. Congratulations on your book, To the Brink and Back.
Thank you.
Talking about India's 1991 story. What prompted you to tell that fascinating story of what happened 24 years back?
Well, after the election debacle of 2014, I suddenly had a lot of time and I needed things to do to keep myself intellectually busy. So I produced a book on the environment, one on land acquisition, and now on the 91 reforms. But more importantly, you know, we're reaching the 25th anniversary. The quarter century of economic reforms of 91, which in many ways, although there was a lot of continuity in 91, going back to the mid-80s, 91 was a watershed. It was a paradigm shift in trade policy, in industrial policy, in fiscal policy. And I think it was important to tell the story of the politics of these reforms, how the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister, Mr. Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh, an odd but unique jugalbandi, masterminded these reforms in the face of opposition from within the party and outside.
So you wanted to give Narasimha Rao the credit that your party didn't give him?
No, I mean, I was not giving anybody credit. I was not criticizing anybody. I was just putting the facts on the table. I mean, I had an insider perspective, and I had a lot of primary material, documentation. Nothing in this book is oral, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything is based on the written record, and there's all their references, their footnotes. So it's, you know, semi-academic in nature as well. But it's a personal account. It's not my story. It's a story of how I saw.
Party certified account?
No. It's not party certified. Nobody.
Do you have to do that? Do you have to show Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi transcripts of your book?
Contrary to the canards that you propagate, the Congress Party is an open, liberal, pluralistic, democratic party where people express their views in party forums. Nobody asked me to write this book. Nobody has said that they're unhappy that I've written this book. And contrary to what the media has portrayed, Mr. Narasimha Rao was a Congress Chief Minister, was a Congress Prime Minister, and will continue to be one in the galaxy of leaders that the Congress Party has produced.
Who you're not, I mean, you're not sensitive about Narasimha Rao at all, unlike being sensitive about Indira Gandhi. And you know, the whole philosophy of the Congress Party has been that everybody should be diminutive to the Gandhi.
No, that's absolutely
including Narasimha Rao.
No,
so we should always place Narasimha Rao one notch lower than Rajiv Gandhi.
No, absolutely not true.
And maybe two notches lower than Indira Gandhi.
Every leader has monumental achievements. Every leader, you know, makes mistakes with the benefit of hindsight. Some with the benefit of contemporary accounts.
Admit it, there's a paranoia in the Congress Party. There's the paranoia in the Congress Party is about the Nehru-Gandhi family being, being eroded. And, you know, for example, this whole unnecessary hype we've seen in the last week about why Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi stamps being taken away. Almost as if you don't have two stamps, which people don't use anyway nowadays. If you don't have postage stamps on Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi...
No, but don't you think...
No. If you don't have postage stamps on Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, then, you know, the nation's history...
No, but that's not the point. The point is you're deliberately needling the party.
Who's deliberately
The BJP, the ruling establishment, the Prime Minister. You're deliberately taking steps in order to needle the Congress Party, which has, you know, had a galaxy of leaders. You're not only trying to appropriate leaders from the Congress pantheon, but you're deliberately trying to provoke the Congress Party.
Sorry? That's your party's insecurity.
No, it's the insecurity.
Why did you deliberately, for that matter, if I were to put it, why did you deliberately insult Ambedkar? there was a stamp on Ambedkar which was discontinued after the Congress party came back to power. In your regime, you were a minister in UPA.
I don't think that Dr. Ambedkar has ever been disrespected or insulted by the Congress party. The Dr. Ambedkar Foundation, the first preliminary steps for establishing the Dr. Ambedkar International Foundation were taken by the Congress party. And incidentally,
but you remove the postage stamp. It's the symbolism.
Let me say,
if the symbolism,
since you've raised this issue,
let me elaborate it and then you respond.
Yeah.
If the symbolism of removing a stamp, Jairam, if you remove a stamp in the name of a person, that means that amounts to eroding the legacy, being petty, etc.
I don't think the stamp has been removed. I think you get newer and newer faces.
That's exactly what the BJP is saying now?
No, obviously you're going to get newer and newer faces.
But that's what the BJP is saying now?
No. Listen. If you're
but what the BJP is saying, we want newer and newer faces. It can't just be Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi all the time.
Also.
But after
all, Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister of India. Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister of India. These are not just Congress leaders. They have been Prime Ministers democratically elected.
Of the Indian Constitution.
Democratically elected.
Yes. Ambedkar was the author of the Indian Constitution.
He was.
Why did you insult?
I think that's completely wrong.
Why did you discontinue? But you discontinued the postal stamp that had been issued in his honor. By the NDA government.
I do not have the full facts on this. I will not. And I don't normally.
You can check me on facts.
I will not assume that you have the full facts, or as well. Let me check on this. But to say that the Congress party has insulted Dr. Ambedkar by this is completely bogus. Because Dr. Ambedkar is a trans-party figure. Jawaharlal Nehru is a trans-party figure. These are people who belong to the country. They belong to the, to the governance, to the freedom movement, to the legacies that we have, and we can't look at them purely from a party perspective.
You're saying that you're being irritated and that there are pinpricks on the. There's an attempt, in your words, to needle your party by the BJP.
From day one, rhetoric in the election campaign, the rhetoric during the governance.
What do you expect?
I don't think that the Prime Minister is interested in building a consensus. I don't think the Prime Minister, if he wanted GST, as he opposed GST for 3 years, and now he's emerged as the biggest champion of GST. If he wanted GST genuinely, then he would have created an environment that is conducive to the parties communicating and talking to each other.
Some people say that the BJP is very soft of the Congress party.
I doubt. I don't think so.
It hasn't gone after Robert Vadra, for example.
Look at the rhetoric.
No, it hasn't gone after Robert Vadra.
They set up an inquiry commission.
They should have done more.
The Haryana government has set up an inquiry commission, and I think
they should have wrapped up the commission.
The law should take it. You ask the Haryana government. Don't ask me about that. And I think Mr. Vadra has been consistently saying, I've done nothing wrong. If I've done something wrong, institute an inquiry and let the inquiry reports be made.
Jairam, let's look at today. Today is the 18th of September 2015.
Yeah.
I think you're having an identity crisis, not the Congress party. What are you? What is the Congress party?
We are in the opposition.
No, what are you? How would you define? Okay. Let me ask you. How would you define the Congress party? Is it a radical party? Is it a left of center party? What is it?
The Congress party has always been a left of center party.
Left of center party. Okay.
It approaches the center from the left. Okay. It's not a leftist party.
Okay.
It's a centrist party, because that's the only way you can govern a country like India with its multitudinous diversities. But it has a pro-people agenda, a pro-poor agenda, a pro-tribal agenda. If that agenda is a leftist agenda, so
is it an obstructionist party, as you've proven yourself to be in the last session of Parliament, or are you a mature opposition that you wanted the opposition to be when you were in power?
We are a constructive opposition when the hand of cooperation is sought. But if you do not have any dialogue, if all the doors of cooperation and discussion are closed, if the Prime Minister takes no interest whatsoever in Parliament, if constitutional amendment bills are passed in the Lok Sabha without the Prime Minister being present, if the Prime Minister is conspicuous by his absence in both houses of Parliament, what are we to assume?
He's taken a leaf from your own Prime Minister. Is it a party that is aged?
That's very unfair.
Is it a party that is aged?
Or
is it a party that is in tune with the youth?
It's a 130-year-old party. It has it has responded to changing circumstances. So it has responded to changing challenges. We faced an unprecedented defeat in 2014. We did not expect the scale of the defeat. We have enormous challenges, and our resilience is being tested right now.
The problem with the Congress Party, and when I mean identity crisis, I hope you don't overreact to what I'm saying, but I'm just being honest and frank with you. As you've said, in your own words, you have lifted the self-imposed moratorium on yourself from coming on my shows. But the fact is that when I say identity crisis, I mean not with the debacle of 44. I mean with knowing where you're going to go. And so I just want to be a little bit clear with you today that let's be honest, that I have some basic questions about the Congress Party. We can construct the debate around those questions. I think our viewers would like you to answer. So just open up, and this is not a CWC meeting. I'm
not a member of the CWC, by the way.
Well, I mean, you don't have to be nice, or even if Rahul or Sonia are watching, I hope you're not going to be. I hope you'll be yourself.
So what is the question?
The question is, what happened to Rahul Gandhi's elevation? Question number one. I have many questions. My first question is, why did you do a U-turn on the elevation of Rahul Gandhi as Congress president? I mean, this is embarrassing.
But who said so?
This is most embarrassing. You said it.
No.
You said it.
You established a certain time frame, and the time frame is not kept, and you say it's a U-turn.
This is most unfair.
Mr. Rahul Gandhi will take over as the Congress president.
When he's 50?
At a time when he will decide.
When he's
it will be decided by him. It will be decided by the Congress president, and it will be decided by the Congress Working Committee. By the way, the media, you have completely misinterpreted what the conclusion of the last CWC was. What the last CWC said, as I read it,
I'm amazed.
As I read it, is that the organizational elections should be completed no later than a year from now. Now, Mr. Rahul Gandhi can take over as Congress president next week, next month, if he wants to.
You don't believe what you're saying?
I believe 100% of what I'm saying.
No, either I believe what Jairam Ramesh is saying to me on the 18th of September 2015,
absolutely,
or I believe what Jairam Ramesh told the whole world in May 2015.
No, absolutely. I believe in this, that if Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants to take over as Congress president,
when?
In a democratic manner, in a manner that he feels comfortable.
Democratic?
Now, the fact that he will take over is inevitable, okay? He is vice president
Why
of the party.
Is he not ready?
He is vice
Why
president
is he not ready?
But listen to me. He is campaigning, he is traveling, he is speaking, he is participating publicly, he is launching our election campaign tomorrow.
You said that he will take over this year.
I'm still hopeful he will take over in 2015. I have no inside information, but I am still hopeful that he will take over in 2015.
Can I quote you? On May 20th, 2015, in an interview to the Press Trust of India, as quoted in the Times of India, Jairam Ramesh, you said, I expect it would be 2015. We are expecting that he will take over as Congress president. We are expecting that he will take over in 2015.
I still expect 2015.
I am sure.
I stand by that comment.
We are hoping.
I stand by that comment.
3rd September.
I still am hoping, and I'm reasonably confident that it will be 2015.
No, you said we are hoping on 3rd September. You gave another interview to the Asian Age. You said, I hope in the next couple of months this transition will take place.
I'm not going back on what I said.
September, October, November. So you expect that by November he will take over?
I'm expecting in 2015 Mr. Rahul Gandhi will take over as president of the Congress Party.
By November?
No, how can I don't have an exact date.
Well, the year is 12 months.
That depends on certain processes and procedures and consultations to which I am.
Now, what does the delayed elevation mean? Does it mean he's not ready?
It's not a delayed elevation. I'm sorry, you got it completely wrong. It's not a delayed elevation.
I've got it wrong.
Yes, I mean, the media has got
your party doesn't want him to take over, or he doesn't want to take over?
That's absolutely not true. Because in the Congress Working Committee, I was not present. But from what I can gather, the discussion was just restricted to the fact that the election process organizational election process must be completed in keeping with the instructions of the Election Commission, and we should do it in the next 1 year, no more than 1 year. That does not mean that you're postponing Mr. Rahul Gandhi's elevation by a year.
David Cameron was 44 when he became Prime Minister.
Yeah, so Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was 40.
Barack Obama was 47.
Yeah. So Jawaharlal Nehru was 58.
Well,
Narendra Modi is 63. Dr. Manmohan Singh.
Alexis Tsipras of Greece was 40.
So Narasimha Rao was 71. So
Roosevelt was 42.
Morarji Desai was over 80.
Theodore Roosevelt was 42 when he was president of the United States of America. What point I'm making is that you are confused. Benjamin Netanyahu was 47.
No. Listen.
No. My point is, you're saying what I am asking today. Actually, this is a question, Jairam Ramesh, you should be asking yourself, what on earth are you doing? Either Rahul Gandhi becomes or he doesn't become. You can't go on a 2-month sabbatical to rejuvenate yourself, come back to a status quo in the party with no elevation. I mean, what is this? There is this.
He's come back from his so-called sabbatical that you say.
Should we be grateful for
sabbatical with a completely transformed figure?
How transformed in which way?
He's vocal, he's visible.
So he was not vocal before.
He's speaking out much more.
He didn't speak out before.
Much more.
He was not communicating before.
He was participating in parliament.
He was not participating before.
No, you are now twisting my words. Arnab, you're just twisting my words.
No, you said transformation.
Of course he was
transformation is opposed to what?
Of course it's obvious. You can see it. You can see Mr. Rahul Gandhi. You can see him exuberant. You can see him interacting with people. You can see him expressing views on public issues. I mean, he is definitely after his 2-month sabbatical.
Well, I mean, I don't know. But
he is a completely, as I see it, a completely transformed figure.
The point that emerges is that you have a 45-year-old dynast unable to take over the reins of the party.
No, I don't think so. I think he's conscious of the fact that he is going to take over. He is preparing himself for taking over. I think he knows very clearly in his mind what his team should be. He doesn't want to take over as an individual. He wants to take over as a team. And
so some people are blocking the team.
I am still confident that when he comes and when he takes over, you will see a generational shift.
Will you concede that unlike Rahul Gandhi, Narendra Modi is a self-made man?
No, look, Mr. Narendra Modi has come up.
He joined the RSS in 1970.
His social background is different. His economic background.
What do you mean social background
is different? His political background is different.
My question was whether he was a self-made man as opposed to Rahul.
He obviously, I mean, he claims to be a self-made man.
Do you have any doubt?
But there are many things of Mr. Modi. I don't know what to believe. You know, there's a narrative of Mr. Modi that has been built by Mr. Modi. And one has to congratulate him for the narrative that he has built.
You're complaining too much about it.
For the narrative that is, I mean, what he is, what he stood for, where he has come from, there's a big mystery over many years of his life. By the way, his life has not been an open book like Mr. Rahul Gandhi's.
Jairam, you graduated from IIT Bombay in 1975. You have a fantastic record. You studied at Carnegie Mellon's University. You got an MSc in Public Policy and Management. At the MIT, studied technology, politics, economic engineering.
What are you trying to prove now?
You must have been in your 30s when you were advising the government.
So?
Right?
So?
Why don't you become Congress president?
So I was 50 when I became
why can't you become the Congress party president?
There's no vacancy for the post.
Oh my God! So non-Gandhi. The point I'm making is, can a non-Gandhi ever become? And ask yourself the question in a very, objective manner.
Sure.
Why do you have to be servile to the Gandhi family? Can a non-Gandhi not aspire to be, through a democratic process, president of the Congress party? Because you're not less qualified than Rahul Gandhi.
I think aspiration is natural with everybody, but I think all of us are working to strengthen the leadership of
the
Gandhi,
why?
Congress president,
why the
and
Gandhis?
Mr. Rahul. She's an elected president.
I'm talking, why can't you look beyond the Gandhis? Can you not look beyond the Gandhis? Does this not show, Mr. Ramesh, that you are by all means, and since you have opened up yourself today to this questioning, you will understand the seriousness of the question. A lot of people watching this interview is that by all means you are a party in which dynastic rule is unfortunately so deeply entrenched in its most top echelons that dismantling it would be tantamount to political suicide for the Congress party. You've got yourself in this parasitic relationship with the family.
Let me respond to this. One is a relatively weak response. We are not the only dynastic party in the game in Indian democratic politics, but that's not a defense, okay? That's not a defense. I immediately accept it. But to single out the Congress party for dynastic politics, I think is being hypocritical, is not being unrealistic, is not being alive to the realities of politics today. But let's keep that aside.
You're not being responding with facts.
Let's keep that aside. Let's keep aside that dynasty is a ubiquitous phenomenon in Indian politics. Let's keep that aside. It also seems to be a ubiquitous phenomenon in US politics. But let's keep that aside. The more serious argument that, although you keep using
Donald Trump is not from any dynasty.
No. By the way, he's also from a certain dynasty. He's from a construction business dynasty. Bush is a dynasty. Clinton is a dynasty. No,
What's your point? But one second. Let's not keep that aside. When Jeb Bush, you must have seen the debate last night. When Jeb Bush debates there with Donald Trump, they debate face to face. One a dynast, one a not a non-dynast, and these two people debate on merit.
By the way,
one second. Jairam Ramesh.
Debate is debate is not a good way of selecting leaders for democratic society.
It checks their intellectual capacity.
But
checks their intellectual capacity.
No, it does not. It just tests the way how media savvy you are, how glib you are, how soundbitey you are. It just does not.
Would you defeat Rahul Gandhi in a debate?
No. First of all, I don't agree to this notion of a debate. Okay, let's not reduce a very complex, very deep parliamentary system to a choice on a TV studio in 25 minutes. But the more serious argument which I want to give to your question that you have raised, apart from this, is that ultimately people have to go back for a mandate. It's not automatic. It's not automatic. You have to go back. A son of an industrialist doesn't have to go back for getting a mandate. But if you're a political dynast, to use your word, you have to go back to the people, and the people can reject you. In 1977, the people rejected Indira Gandhi, and they brought her back in 1980. So ultimately, the ultimate test really is you go back to the people, and the people say yes or no. So I don't think,
What gives you the right to believe that the people only want the Gandhis to be the choice they have?
If the people don't want the Gandhis, they will not have the Gandhis.
But that's exactly what they've done.
In 1977,
they've thrashed you down to 44. Is that not a message?
They voted her out. And
you've not been voted out. You've not been voted out, Mr. Ramesh. You've not been voted out. In fact, I would be very polite to say that you've been booted out. Is that not a message? When I'm talking about 2014.
Sure, it was an unprecedented defeat. You can use whatever language you want, but it was a defeat, the scale of which we didn't expect. And the winner didn't expect to win by this margin.
What happens to the loser?
Huh?
What happens to the loser?
Well, the loser has to make fundamental changes in the way...
Where are those changes?
You're seeing it.
The loser makes fundamental changes.
Yes, you are seeing it. You're seeing it in the manner in which our leadership is responding to situations. You're seeing it in the nature of agitational politics that we are getting involved in. On the land acquisition issue, for example, I think that is something in which the Congress party played a leadership role along with other political parties and farmers' organizations. So we have to rediscover the values of agitation.
You're not fully convinced. You know that.
No, listen.
You're not fully convinced. I asked you, why does every congressman have to be diminutive to the Gandhis?
But I don't think so. I don't think we are diminutive. I think,
I have an RTI reply from 2002. Jairam, let me give you an example, then you elaborate on it. There was an RTI reply in 2012 which came out with a stunning fact that out of 58 centrally sponsored schemes and institutions run by the central government, your government, in which you were a minister, 27 had names of family members of only the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty. 27. I mean, what are we? Some tin pot dictatorship?
Nehru was Prime Minister for 17 years. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister for 14 years.
So your argument is that Ambedkar was not Prime Minister for long enough?
These are not...
Or Lal Bahadur Shastri was not Prime Minister.
Inconsequential figures.
Okay.
These are not inconsequential.
So the longer you are a Prime Minister, the more schemes in your name.
There are schemes named after Lal Bahadur Shastri as well.
Really? How many?
Well, we've got. I mean, I can't remember.
Can I tell you?
You tell me.
One.
Okay, so but the fact is that there are.
You're getting embarrassed at this.
Listen. First of all, I don't think the issue that you have raised.
The issue is about why everybody is
naming of schemes and all. I mean, look, I've been a minister for 8 years, and for me, the name of a scheme was not the primary objective. It's the object. What is the scheme meant for? What is it meant to do? How is it implemented? How is it monitored? Was more important than whom it is being named after.
I think it reflects a mindset.
No, it doesn't. I think it reflects.
Atal Bihari Vajpayee won. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel won. Rabindranath Tagore won.
It doesn't.
Gandhi family.
It doesn't reflect a mindset. I think it reflects a certain, relationship that when there is a Congress government, obviously you expect the Congress ministers to name programs after the Congress leaders, not after BJP leaders.
It reflects a certain obsessiveness with one family.
No, it shows the special relationship that the family has with the party. I mean, that the way I see it, Mrs. Gandhi.
Mrs. Gandhi.
Let me tell you one thing.
Mrs. Gandhi was exclusively bestowed the privilege of being the only face on all international stamps on India. I mean, what are we? Is this, sorry, even Batista never did that in Cuba. Why would you do that in India? Why? Why would you do in India what Batista did not do in Cuba?
No, let me come
please
back.
explain this.
You asked me one question. Why is it
but we have to look
that we are genuflecting all the time?
Yes.
I don't think we're genuflecting.
What are you?
I think what we are doing is reflecting the fact that here is Mrs. Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, then you have Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, then you have Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. You've had personalities who have exemplified the spirit of India, who have had a record of public service, who have made a commitment to democratic values and to
nobody else did.
Model of governance. No, I'm not saying others are not doing it.
Maulana Abdul Kalam,
of course Maulana
Azad never did.
He's part of the Congress pantheon.
He never featured in definitive
Mr.
stamp.
Sardar Patel certainly did. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose certainly did. But if their people are coming out and being in politics, I mean, I hope more and more people from political families join politics.
I think you realize my point that a changing India, where the captain of the Indian cricket team is from a small town, largely builds himself up on merit and is not necessarily a member of some ex-royal family, you're not in touch with the changing demographic nature and aspirations
I don't
of this
disagree with you that the demographics are changing, aspirations are changing, and if our leadership does not reflect changing aspirations and changing values, we all will be staring at the abyss of irrelevance. I have no doubt in my mind.
So why delaying?
I have no doubt in my mind that our leadership also, and by leadership I don't mean individual A or individual B, I mean all of us, I include. If we are not sensitive to these changing demographics and changing social aspirations, we'll all become irrelevant.
Was Narasimha Rao treated badly by the Congress party? You know him well, you work with him very well. Let's talk a little bit about that. Also because his picture is right there on top of your book, and I'm plugging your book, Jairam. How I plug is up to me. Was he treated badly by the Congress party?
I think the reality is that the relationship was deeply ambivalent. Okay, what happened on economic reforms was that Mr. Rao then ended up losing election after election in 94 in Karnataka and Andhra.
No.
He lost the 96 election, and therefore the Congress party developed an ambivalent approach to economic reform.
You don't treat anyone like that. You don't treat anyone.
Wait.
Okay, you make your point, then we'll
The story is not complete.
Sure.
Then you had December 6, 1992, and many congressmen believe that this was not coincidental, that Mr. Rao participated, covertly in the demolition of the Babri Masjid. And that the most charitable defense of Mr. Rao in the Congress is that he didn't do enough to protect the Babri Masjid, say for example by imposing President's rule in UP, that he believed an affidavit given by the Kalyan Singh government.
So it's not you would agree that that's not a wrong observation to have.
No, I'm just saying.
His role leading up to 6th of December 1992 was not it's not wrong.
No, you asked me a question.
What is your
why the Congress party has this ambivalent attitude, and as I see it, the ambivalence stems from the fact that electorally economic reforms in the early 90s proved to be, somewhat of a disaster for the Congress party. But more seriously, forget economic reforms. More seriously, what happened in December 6, 1992, left everybody in the Congress party uncomfortable. That one of the fundamental tenets of the Congress party, which is to protect minorities and to be really concerned about their welfare, as symbolized by what happened on December 6, 1992, was a dent in that tenet. So most people in the Congress party whom I know, who are my friends, who are my colleagues, whom I work with, whom I live with, say, Mr. Rao, very learned man, very erudite man, very politically very astute and crafty man, but he could have done much more to ensure that December 6, 1992 did not happen.
That's an unacceptable excuse that you're presenting, Mr. Ramesh. Now let me give you the other.
You're asking me for an explanation. I'm giving you my explanation.
It's a fragile, weak, and from a person of your intellectual ability and intellectually unsound explanation. And let me tell you why. Sonia Gandhi, 125th anniversary of the Congress Party, in year 2009, she showers the credit for the entire 1991 reforms on Rajiv Gandhi.
No.
I mean, come on. No, please.
I had a hand in writing the speech, so I should know.
No, you had a hand in writing the speech.
It's completely wrong. In March of 2001, when the AICC had its plenary session in Bangalore, Mrs. Gandhi gave pride of place, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi gave pride of place to Minister Narasimha Rao on a public platform, on the dais, in front of 10,000 congressmen attending the plenary session.
Well, can I tell you?
Gandhi
No, one second. You wrote that speech. In that case, you were unfair.
Right, that speech, but in
that sense, you were completely unfair. What you've written in your book goes completely antithetical to what you helped her construct her speech.
Please read my book. What have I said in the book?
I'll tell you what she said in her speech. She said, Rajiv ji is not here to see his dream come true, but he left his personal imprint on the party's 1991 manifesto. That manifesto was the entire basis of our economic policies thereafter. These policies imparted new strength and direction to our economy and society. In your book you have said, and even if you didn't say in your book, it would have been realized, that there was some thought that Rajiv Gandhi gave to the idea of reforms in 1986, at which point of time you also played your role. I don't know, we were in the planning commission somewhere. So, but it was Manmohan Singh, you write in your book, when he met you, when he became finance minister, he told you, Jairam Ramesh, now let's do everything we could not do when we were in the planning commission. Therefore, when you are crediting somebody for a vision, you can't be so narrow-minded as to reverse history and write it, do the reverse engineering. No, you did reverse. You wanted to reverse engineering on history.
Mr. Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh both, I have quoted them, telling the media, telling congressmen that economic reforms is what we are doing, and this reforms is contained in the 1991
Have you seen your party's official...
These are statements.
The reality.
And by the way, there is There is no contradiction whatsoever between giving credit to Mr. Narasimha Rao being Prime Minister in 91 and saying that the economic reforms of 1991, the architecture of that was contained in the 91 manifesto, of which, by the way, the chairman of the drafting committee was Mr. Rao.
No, by the way, can I just counter you, and you know that you're completely on the back foot on this one, because on your party's website, please, timeline, there is one cursory mention of Narasimha Rao, despite him being the pioneer of the reforms and implementing it. And he was Prime Minister when the reforms took place. The website credits Manmohan Singh for the economic reforms. I am not even talking about how he was denied, even in his death, a place of honor. 1 minute, Jairam. Let's be clear today. You said you would be honest. He was denied a state funeral in Delhi. One of the most successful Prime Ministers in this country, whose pioneering vision in his Prime Ministership has changed the course of our economic history. There are reports he was humiliated. His remains were not allowed into the AICC headquarters.
He was not humiliated. I have been very honest in the book. I have said that on the 24th of January 1998, I was witness to the fact in the way Mr. Sitaram Kesri, who was then the Congress president, announced publicly that Mr. Rao will not contest the 98 elections, and after that, I felt that was not a way of treating the a former Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And that too with a man with a proven track record.
So have the Gandhis undermined? Have the Gandhis undermined Narasimha Rao?
No, I don't think so. I've given you an example already of how in 2001. In the AICC plenary, then nothing can be much more public than an AICC plenary with 10,000 congressmen and congresswomen open to the public in Bangalore. Mrs. Gandhi, Congress President, gives pride of place on the dais to Mr. Narasimha Rao, former Prime Minister, former Congress President, talks to him, gets his advice on the resolution, on the economic resolution of the AICC and the political resolution, which set the course for the party when we come to power in 2004.
Why was she bitter about it?
No, I don't. Listen, I have not discussed
the course of history in 1991. The course of history in 1991 after Rajiv Gandhi gets assassinated. Right? Once the course of history.
Mr. Narasimha Rao was Mrs. Gandhi's choice.
Exactly. So why?
So it's not as if Mr. Narasimha Rao suddenly
Why does Miss Sonia Gandhi? Why does Miss Sonia Gandhi, allow me to complete, have an antagonistic?
I don't think.
Allow me.
Because you're asking me a question.
No, but you're not listening. No, but I
have no knowledge. The only knowledge I have on this is Mr. Natwar Singh's book, which says that Mrs. Gandhi was the one who selected Mr. Narasimha Rao to be Congress President, and by virtue of his being Congress President, he then became Prime Minister. I have not discussed Mr. Narasimha Rao with Mrs. Gandhi. The only time I have discussed Mr. Narasimha Rao with Mrs. Gandhi is when we were writing our manifesto, and in the manifesto, if you see our 2004 manifesto, you see our 2009 manifesto and 2014 manifesto, we have given full credit to Mr. Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh in 1991.
You see, Manmohan Singh, I won't come into. Manmohan Singh has always been gladly and happily diminutive to the Gandhi family, and that's been the center point of his political success. But
his style is different. I think he's not in your face style.
Exactly.
He's, much more of his style is different. And you should allow for different styles.
Sure.
Not everybody should be like Arnab Goswami.
May I complete? The point is, there were three people in the recent history of India: Narasimha Rao, Pranab Mukherjee, and Sitaram Kesri. One second. Sitaram Kesri was also had at one point of time Sonia Gandhi's support till she decided to come in 98-99. Pranab Mukherjee was seen as a potential challenger, one second, and hence there is a period when there is a strained relationship after Indira Gandhi's assassination, in which Pranab Mukherjee left the Congress party and came back later. And Narasimha Rao. These three individuals, Jairam, if you are a true student of India...
One becomes Prime Minister, one becomes Congress President, and one becomes the President of India.
Yeah. Now, may I complete?
And this would not have happened without Mrs. Gandhi's intervention or active support.
Why does Sonia Gandhi have an antagonistic? Allow me. Why did you allow me to complete the conversation?
If she had
why does she have an antagonistic?
With one become Congress President, one become Prime Minister, and one become the President of India.
Well, may I complete, please? Jairam, may I complete? I'll give you for all three.
Without Mrs. Gandhi's support, do you think Mr. Pranab Mukherjee would have become Prime Minister President of India?
Mrs. Gandhi is not the monarch of the country. So let me complete the question.
She's a Congress President.
It appears to me today that you hold Mrs. Gandhi as the reigning deity. Every time I am taking your reigning deity's name. She may be the Congress President. But why would you let me ask a question
was the Congress candidate for the presidency.
Can I complete? You see, Pranab Mukherjee fell out, then made his way back in. 1 second. Made his way back in, got back into the good books, and everything was okay. Sitaram Kesri was not forgiven for wanting to stay on as Congress President. You know what happened then. I was myself covering the Congress Party. I don't want to go into the slightly embarrassing details of the manner in which he was made to exit.
I don't know the details.
Narasimha Rao...
You seem to have some insight information.
Narasimha Rao... This is an attempt to wipe this man out from his contribution out from India's legacy.
So.
My question to you, would you agree that Mrs. Gandhi or the Gandhis are unforgiving with anyone who dares to come close to their own political profile, or those who they see as a threat?
No, I don't think so. I think they trust people, and they expect that people whom they put their trust in and whom they place their confidence in will reciprocate that trust and confidence. I think
that's not that's not democratic way of working.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
if
I were to trust you and if I place some confidence in you, I would expect some reciprocity from you. There's nothing wrong with that.
But that's a very. May I complete? May I say something?
Yeah, sure.
That? I think that's a very patronizing. In classical terms, I've been a student of anthropology. We'd call it a patron-client Jajmani kind of relationship, which is exactly the reason.
By the way, Jajmani means I'm dependent on my feed and from my patron. Here I'm not.
That's how the Congress Party is constructed.
I mean, you keep saying that we're not a democratic party. We genuflect to the leadership. Let me tell you, on many issues. Let me give you my own example. On many issues, I differ with my leadership. But they have given me the freedom to express my views. But there are party forums where I have to express my views. I can't give interviews to PTI or to Arnab Goswami to say that this position of the Congress Party, I don't agree.
I'm going to come to that.
But I think there are parties have to function according to a structure, according to a discipline. Look at the way Mr. Modi is running the BJP. Let me tell you, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is far more democratic. Mrs. Gandhi is far more democratic, far more open, far more accessible, far more amenable to a diversity of opinion than Mr. Narendra Modi is.
Why?
There is a
the problem is that you want to go off track to Modi.
No, I'm not.
This interview is about Congress Party and Jairam Ramesh.
I'm just saying, we are a democratic party. We have party forums. We express our views. As I've given you my own experience, in the last 15 years, well, it's not 15 years, it's 17 years I have worked with Mrs. Gandhi now, from 1998 onwards. On many issues, I have had different views. She has encouraged me to express my views, and I have not paid the penalty for expressing different views. Well, but she expects me to express my views in party forums and not to Mr. Arnab Goswami or to PT.
I think your party is rigid. I think you're dynastic, and you've never learned to say sorry even for the gravest mistakes that your party has made.
I think we have done mistakes. I think 1994, what happened in 1994, the anti-Sikh riots, is a blemish. In 1984, is a blemish. Is a stigma on us. I think Mrs. Gandhi has apologized for it. All of us are apologetic, and we can never live down what happened in 1984.
You have not.
My own view is that
for example, you have never apologized for the emergency. I don't know why. What is the problem? Please tell everyone watching this interview right now, Mr. Ramesh, what is your problem with saying sorry, saying you're deeply apologetic for the excesses and the conduct of your party and your party leadership in the dark days of the emergency?
It's very interesting that you asked me.
Please say so.
It's very interesting you asked me this question.
Yes.
Paul Brass was an American political scientist. He's just come out with a book on Charan Singh, Volume 3. And in the appendix in that, there is an interview with Mrs. Indira Gandhi, 26th of March 1978. Transcript of that interview. And I would recommend that you read this interview. The book has just come out, and I happen to have read this book just a couple of days ago, just 3-4 days ago. And Paul Brass asks Mrs. Gandhi this question, and Mrs. Gandhi responds. She says, yes, mistakes were made. Yes, excesses were committed, some of which I didn't know about, and they should not have been done. It's there in Mrs. Gandhi's own words, which have been transcribed
that's not an apology.
by Paul Brass.
Can I quote something else then?
Yeah, sure.
Quoting someone. Sonia Gandhi gave an interview to the former Indian Express editor Shekhar Gupta
on Walk the Talk.
Exactly. 2006, right? And she was asked, she recounted her memories of the emergency and how she and Rajiv dealt with it. She said, the fact that my mother-in-law says that the elections in 1977 went against us, that tells us that she had a rethink of the emergency. She thought it was a mistake. Now, she thought. Yeah. Why can't Sonia Gandhi come out and say this was a huge blunder and a letdown on the Indian people? If
Indira Gandhi could have said,
Indira Gandhi has not said it's a mistake. Indira Gandhi Indira Gandhi by all accounts has only said she was not aware of the excess of the emergency.
I'm quoting
show me one instance.
Your own comment.
There is no quote of Indira Gandhi where Indira Gandhi, not one quote of Indira Gandhi where Indira Gandhi has done anything more than dissociate herself from the excesses of her own son.
Well, let me tell you, I have read many books, many memoirs of people who were associated with Mrs. Gandhi, most notably B.K. Nehru's book, Nice Guys Finished Second. If you read that book, you get a clear sense that B.K. Nehru was under the clear impression that Indira Gandhi thought that the emergency
I'm sorry,
was something that should not have been
interviewed Rahul Gandhi
You read P.N. Dutt's interview.
I interviewed Rahul Gandhi in January 2014. And I find his response to the question on 1984 a mirror copy of the response, of the response of Sonia Gandhi on the emergency. I had nothing to do with it. Rahul said to me, I wasn't there. Sonia Gandhi's response is saying, I don't know anything about it. We were the nice guys. Me and Rajiv, we knew nothing about it. Now since you're quoting, Mr. Ramesh,
where do you want this apology cycle to end?
I have a simple question. My question is this: the emergency and what transpired during the emergency, Mr. Ramesh, is not just a blot on our national history. You know, and everyone watching this interview knows that it was a murder of democracy. It was the darkest phase that India has ever been through, and your party is directly responsible for it. We expect a categorical apology. Why is there no categorical apology? People give an answer.
In March 1997, they booted the party out.
No apology.
They booted the party out.
Why would you not apologize?
No, I don't understand what this Western concept that you keep saying, apology.
Why is it a Western concept?
Because this is what is happening. You apologize for slavery, you apologize for colonialism, you apologize for this, you apologize for that.
Are you proud of it?
I'm just saying.
Are you proud of it?
How much? No,
like Salman Khurshid refused to apologize for the emergency. Are you proud?
No, if I apologize, let's take this example.
Yeah, please.
If I apologize for the emergency,
yeah.
Okay, I have my own views on the emergency.
Yeah.
If I say, the emergency was wrong, it should not have been imposed. I apologize. What difference is it going to make?
This is exactly the facile answer.
Tell me.
These words.
So what difference?
I'll tell you. These were the words.
Because people of the country had given enough of an answer to Indira Gandhi and Sanjay Gandhi in March of 1997.
No, that's not an answer. That's not an answer. This is the same facile answer that Salman Khurshid gave when he said, what difference will it make? How do you assume? And who are you to assume whether it makes a difference? I would tell you, I can turn around to you and say that there were 700,000 people who were displaced during that Turkman gate demolition. People know there are hundreds of thousands of people today who would be directly affected. There were 6.2 million people, Mr. Jairam Ramesh, who were forcibly sterilized by a member. Let me complete. Since you are saying so, since you are saying since you are saying what difference would it make, I would put this to you and hear the question and then respond. Then we move on to the next. I would say to you, if astonishing 6.2 million Indian men are sterilized, which is, by the way, 15 times the number of people sterilized by the Nazis. That many number of people.
Now you're getting into dangerous territory.
I'm getting into factual
territory. You're getting into Nazi. If you want to talk about Nazism, then I can talk about the close parallel between the RSS and fascism and Nazism. Let's not get into this.
No, I'll get into it. I'll get into it. I'll give you a chance to respond.
You are not getting in. Now you're getting into complete.
I will give you one question. I'm asking you one question.
Emergency. Should I apologize?
No.
I'm saying that the emergency. The people of India gave a convincing answer to the people, the architects of the emergency.
Mr. Ramesh, please hear me this. I am not getting into any area. I like to be factual. I'm not, one second, please. So, I take your answer. What difference would it make if we apologize for the emergency? I'm not telling you, Mr. Ramesh, 146 people died during the Turkman incident. No,
I'm asking you a question. No, I'm asking.
Are
you asking me to apologize personally?
I'm asking you a question.
On behalf of the Congress Party.
Why are you getting nervous?
No, I'm not getting nervous because I have a personal view. I think the emergency was wrong. I think I can't defend the emergency. But if you're asking me, should the party apologize? That's for the party to decide. We are individuals. We have our personal views. We have our own opinions. But if you ask me my personal view, this is a different view. You're asking me a personal view or party view? I thought you were asking me as an organization, the Congress.
I'm saying to you that when 6.2... now please let me complete the sentence.
Dispute these figures.
Can I complete the sentence? Can I complete the sentence?
Sure.
My point
I'm just giving you
my sentence is that there were 6.2 million Indian men who were sterilized during the emergency. And you can check with this. This is 15 times the number of people sterilized by Hitler.
Listen,
I'm quoting 2,000 people died from botched operations.
You are now
2,000 people died from botched operations. This is the reality of the emergency. This is the reality of the emergency. Is it not worth saying sorry for?
This is the reason why I'd never appear on Arnab Goswami's show. This is the reason.
Is it not worth saying sorry for?
You are on a certain track and suddenly you go off track to increase your TRPs or do whatever you want to do.
But Mr. Ramesh, this is the reality of India.
Completely, to talk about the fact, you're talking about the concentration camps during the emergency. What are you
talking about sterilizations, Mr. Ramesh.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about sterilizations. I'm talking about sterilizations. Did sterilizations happen?
Sterilization took place. Forcible sterilizations took place. Forcible sterilizations took place in Chhattisgarh under Raman Singh's government. 15. Forcible sterilizations are wrong under any circumstances, under any political dispensation. If sterilization has to be done, it must be done with the consent of the family. I don't disagree with you on that. But where I have violent disagreement with you, where I think you're completely off base, is to use the word Nazis.
No, I'm saying the number of people sterilized during the Nazi time and during the emergency. The comparison is not to concentration camps.
I can draw eerie parallels between Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Hitler. I can draw eerie parallels between the RSS and fascist organizations. But where is it going to lead us?
Why would you not say sorry?
Where is it going to lead us? I told you. Personally, if you ask me, the greatest damage that the emergency did to the Indian political system was to mainstream the RSS. This is the greatest damage that the emergency did. That Jayaprakash Narayan gave respectability to the RSS. And the RSS emerged as a political mainstream force post-emergency. And to me, that is the single most disastrous legacy of the emergency.
Why is Sonia Gandhi completely incommunicado? What? Can I complete?
Yeah,
Because the moment I say Sonia Gandhi, you jump. Why is she behind this iron curtain, completely unanswerable? This is not the way democratic leaders function. What is this?
She communicates when she needs to. When there is a message that she needs to communicate, she speaks to the Congress Parliamentary Party. She speaks to the Congress Working Committee. She speaks in public rallies. We are taping this on 19th.
One-way
on 18th, she's speaking on the 20th to farmers' rally.
No, but why is that one way? Why does she not speak to the media, to have a press conference or have interviews?
She speaks to the media, yeah. She speaks.
Why does she give interviews?
To the media. She's spoken to the media. I mean, she's not comfortable speaking to the media because the media will distort whatever she says.
That's a very suspicious attitude.
No, most people are. I know a lot of people in politics who, when they appear with interviews, will tape their interview. I don't know whether it's happened with you, but I know a lot of people who.
That reflects their point of view, suspicion, not the interview.
It reflects, it reflects the current tendency of not seeing the nuance in a person's answers and to take a certain headline out of context and sensationalize the
why this iron curtain? The 10 Janpath, would you agree 10 Janpath, rest of India,
if you
is an iron curtain? Why is that so? Have people
Arnab,
like you advised her to be like this?
If you ask me, yes. Mrs. Gandhi and Mr. Rahul Gandhi should communicate more in a two-way fashion, answer is categorically yes.
Why don't they?
I mean, that's their choice. I can't force it on them. I have spoken to them. When I have been asked, I have spoken to them. I have told them. If you are asking me that our leadership should communicate more,
but today's day
should be allowed to be answered, yes, absolutely.
Times have changed.
No doubt. Absolutely no doubt. Why? I mean, Nehru did this once a month.
Yeah,
he used to be, to be interrogated. I've seen,
why?
Transcripts of his.
Then what happened? Happened?
But subsequently, people didn't. I mean, Mr. Vajpayee was not the most communicative of. How many press conferences has Mr. Narendra Modi had? Is Mr. Narendra Modi a two-way communicator? I'm not defending, by the way. I'm not defending.
Modi gave me an interview in May 2014. Sonia Gandhi didn't.
Is Mr. Modi a two-way communicator? Mr. Modi is a completely one-way communicator. You tried catching Mr. Modi on a two-way communication? I wish you all the best of luck.
I've had an interview with him.
I'm not defending.
No, that's not the point. The point is, why is this iron curtain?
The point is,
you're not the Chinese leadership.
The point is,
are you modeling yourself on the Chinese leadership?
All political leaders, if you are in public life, you should be communicative. And communication means not just one way of communication. Communication means...
Then what's the real problem?
Ask them. I have no idea.
Do they feel worried about the media?
They feel worried that, it's going to be quoted out of context. They feel worried that the interviews could get sensationalized, and that's the way I read the situation. But as I said, since you asked me a question, I've given you an honest answer. But at the same time, I need to point out that the chief executive of our country is not. He speaks a lot. He's very loquacious, but he's not communicative. Because if by your definition of communication is that you should be allowed to be interrogated. Certainly Mr. Modi is not allowing himself to be interrogated.
No, I've seen this a culture in the Congress party, especially over the last 5 to 6 years. Manmohan Singh, Sonia Gandhi, the style is, Chinese leadership style, close yourself around, don't speak, one-way communication. Have a lot of minders around
reticent person, naturally reticent, but let me say that I am on record and I don't mind saying it again, that Dr. Manmohan Singh should also be communicating much more, because he's a very effective communicator in his own way, because he speaks from a position of gravitas. And communication, I agree.
Are you the communication strategist of the Congress
Communication means the opening yourself to question. That I agree with. It's not just one way.
My last question
is one of those rare moments of agreement with what you say.
Why do you fight with everyone? Jairam Ramesh, your history, you can't get along with people and you fight a lot.
Fight me?
Fight. You fought with Chidambaram.
Have I?
Well, you did quite publicly. I mean, if that's not a fight.
No, he was the finance minister. He was upholding his dharma. I was rural development minister. I was seeking more funds for rural roads, rural employment and rural housing. He was doing what he thought was his job. I was doing what I thought was my job.
But you could never get along. You said it was impossible. You said, in that context, you said in an interview to Scroll recently, you said, it's true, I would have loved consent, but, it's impossible. I would say this on record, I've never been able to get it passed by my cabinet. It would be easier for me to navigate the law through parliament than among my own ministerial colleagues. That's such an open fight with Chidambaram.
No, not just Chidambaram. I mean, look, we are an open system. People have different views on genetically modified brinjal, on BT brinjal. Mr. Sharad Pawar and I had different views on rural employment and rural housing and rural roads.
You consistently fought.
No, it's not fighting, it's having different points of view and standing up for what you think is your position.
Yeah, but you fought when you were in government. You just told me this is completely contradictory to the way you spoke sometime back when you said you need to speak, but you need to speak in the right forums, in the right way, not in a public way. However, I'd like to remind you, Jairam Ramesh, your famous fight with Anand Sharma in 2012. You forgot?
No, I forgot.
Well, I'll tell you. You were Rural Development Minister. You told...
On land acquisition.
Yeah, no. This was about failing to bite the bullet on fuel prices, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
You said the time for pussyfooting is over. We have 2 years left. It is time to take the bull by the horns. And the bull you want to take is fuel subsidy. I favor a rational subsidy regime targeted at those who need it. I'm against subsidies that favor the rich. Why should we subsidize corporate entities?
What is fighting in
corporate entities?
That's exactly what Mr. Modi's government has done. That's what Dr. Manmohan Singh's government set out to do. And that's what previous government, starting from Mr. Deve Gowda's government,
because Anand Sharma responded to that by saying Jairam Ramesh must remember that he was one of the ministers who put up resistance to the national manufacturing policy, which had intended to create 100 million jobs over the next 10 years, etc., etc.
Listen, you're juxtapositioning
I'm not.
things.
Exactly.
You're
the same point. The point.
Now I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
You're juxtaposing.
What happened? What went wrong?
No, nothing went wrong. Listen, I was asked what is my position on fuel subsidies. I was a minister in the government. I said, okay, when you're spending 140,000 crores on perverse fuel subsidies and you do not have adequate funds for rural housing or rural roads or rural employment, it's my job to point out that you need to restructure the pattern of public expenditure, and that's what I was pointing out too.
Why were you not a public? These are public fights.
No, these are not a fight. It's certainly not. I mean, listen. What you're doing is very silly. This is one of the reasons why.
Name one other minister who fights like this
perhaps Mrs. Gandhi does not give interviews, because what you're doing is you're taking one statement given at one point of time by individual A, and you're taking a statement B given by individual B at a different point of view, juxtapositioning and then raising a question.
I think to the contrary.
I'm sorry. You're being completely intellectually dishonest.
Well,
but that's par for the course.
Jairam, I'll tell you, I have looked at this and I have asked myself, and you can give your point of view, but may I give one more example? One more example?
Please give.
Okay, now you tell me, since you accused me now of intellectual dishonesty as well, which is interesting.
Par for the course. Don't forget that.
But your denials are par for the course. You're a politician, Jairam. You can deny anything. In January 2010, you fought with Jairam Ramesh fought with Kamal Nath. In April 2000, yes.
Give me the context, no? Then I'll tell you whether it's true, false. If it's true, I'll say it's
true. There was a public clash between both of you over an elevated corridor of a national highway through the Pench Tiger Reserve in Madhya Pradesh. Yes, absolutely. I
fought for it.
Yes.
And I'm not defensive about it.
Yes.
I was protecting a tiger corridor.
Yes.
My job was to protect a tiger corridor.
Yes.
Mr. Kamal Nath's job was to ensure that a national highway got built.
No, he went public and so did you about how you were a hurdle in highway projects.
Absolutely. I had to fight it.
Am I being intellectually dishonest there?
No. But am I being intellectually dishonest? Am I disowning what I said?
No, but you have.
I had to file an affidavit in the Supreme Court saying that, look, these are the reasons why I cannot give the green signal for this national highway project. So I'm not denying what I have said.
Are you too rigid in a way? I mean, you're the one who gets into these sparring situations in your own government. When you reflect upon how you are as a politician. Right, and you have not been a trained politician. You came into politics through the politics.
I think
would you say? Allow me to complete that. Would you say that you are far too rigid on all? To be a standard politician, that sometimes your own intellectual disposition does not allow you to go along with a measured consensus that makes you a volatile member of the party.
If I had been rigid, I would not have been able to get a land acquisition, 2013 land acquisition law through my government and through all political parties.
Which Arun Jaitley is the worst. Drafted piece of legislation.
And incidentally, a legislation in which he had a hand in drafting. 4 times I went to his house in east of Kailash. I met him innumerable number of times, and many of the suggestions made by him and Sushma Swaraj were incorporated in the final law.
You didn't answer my question. Are you too volatile a person to be a standard person?
Look, if there is a point of view to be upheld, if I was made Minister of Environment and Forests, I was not made Minister of Environment and Forests to be a goody-goody minister. I was made minister to ensure that the laws belonging to environment and forest were implemented, and they were not being implemented. If I was being made Minister of Rural Development, I was not made minister to dismantle the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. I was put there to ensure that this act is implemented seriously. So if you stand up for what you think, and if in that process of standing up for what you think is right creates problems, so be it.
Jairam, last question now. I'm actually putting the last question away.
Yeah,
everything becomes the penultimate question.
Multiple last questions.
No, but this one I hope you will at least be honest to. Since, for all our differences on several issues, your judgmental observations on me and my views on your intellectual rigidity, this answer
and my views on my party also.
And your views on your party and my views on your party.
On which you have.
And my views on your party.
Strange views. Huh?
And if I were to ask you, 1984 killings, A, pandering to fundamentalist elements among Muslims and Hindus at different points of time in history. C, the worst examples of political corruption. D, established psychophancy. E, irremovable dynastic tradition. Which is the most shameful and regrettable legacy of the Congress party? And Jairam, you can't deny, there may be, this list can go up to Z. I just stopped at, you can choose any of these or any other. Which is the most regrettable legacy of your own party, the Congress party, Jairam?
If you were to ask me, 1984 is something that is just simply, what happened cannot be explained. It's just complete breakdown of the entire system, and the only saving grace is that it got controlled in 3 days, but extracted a huge human toll, and it is a permanent blemish on us. Yeah, we can't live down what happened in 1984. My personal view is that the emergency too could have been completely avoided. If you ask me whether it was a mistake personally, yes, it was a mistake. Yeah, as I said, it was a mistake because it mainstreamed the RSS permanently, and which is going to be gravely injurious to the nation's democratic functioning, because I find virtually no difference between the way the fascists and the Nazis operated and what is happening in the current ideological brotherhood that is ruling the country. So yes, we have made mistakes here. Parties make mistakes. And if you say that the parties should apologize, I don't disagree with you, but parties get penalized electorally.
But maybe time to apologize, to move on with the time.
Yeah, I think if an apology, if an apology were to assuage hurt sentiment, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If an apology, genuine apology, not for electoral. By the way, in Punjab after 1984, we've won elections, we have lost elections. That should not be the criteria. If you really feel that, if all of us collectively feel that this is something, and I think all of us feel, I don't think there's anybody in the Congress party who believes that 1984, it is a blot. It's something that we simply cannot come to terms with. I don't think there's anybody who would disagree with the point of view. Now, if that should lead to a formal apology, that's a separate issue.
But you just said it in your going back.
No, personally, you're talking.
No, so as a party, you feel collectively, if it helps to assuage,
if it helps to assuage public sentiment, if it helps to breach, restore lost relationships, if it helps to calm tempers down, soothe the temperature down, I think yes, it's worth considering. It's worth considering. After all, the Australian government did apologize for the way they treated the Aborigines. So I have no theological view on this. Okay, that we shouldn't apologize. I do not subscribe to that view. As I said, individually, I have a view on this, and on that I'm not squeamish about saying this. Since you asked me on 1984 an emergency, I feel that these were mistakes which were totally avoidable. Whether that should lead to an apology or not is a separate issue. Organized, collectively, individually is a separate issue.
You're going one step forward, two steps back. But Jairam, I've enjoyed this chat. And for anyone, even your greatest critic, will admit that you bring a great amount of intellectual solidity to your party and to our political fabric.
Thank you.
It's been great talking to you, Jairam.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.